matters most to you in West Michigan. Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on Wood Radio.
Oh, welcome in, folks. It is another week at hand. And yes, I got to tell you, I think I can feel it. I don't know about you. Something special in the air. We got some stories that you may not be hearing, and I think the consequence of which very impactful. You may not be hearing these anywhere else. We'll get to them all this morning. And, of course, we'll hear from you. Fresh off a little bit of a holiday weekend, giving thanks as we ought to do. Kicking off the Christmas season.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now, today's Big Three.
The stories that matter most, you'll be talking about these around the water cooler, the dinner table, no matter where you are. Yep. All powered by good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. Never a better time to buy or refi is what I said for the last year or so, until things changed. And yes, folks, I know things have changed, but if you didn't heed my warning previously, you didn't save thousands like many did. Listen to this program. Took the chance to make the phone calls and save the money. There still may be time. Put some money back in your pocket using your home equity line of credit, and other solutions they've got, refinances and things like that. You just never know. But now is the time to get your house, your home in order. Get your finances and your affairs ready, because you just never know what's down the road. Dave Galloway and the team will walk you through the entire process to make it as quick and painless as possible. He did for us multiple occasions. Call Dave Galloway and the team at Heartland Home Mortgage today at 616-974-9105.
Number one.
Or go online to hhmlending.com. Online Black Friday sales hit a record $9.12 billion. But it's a big number. They say actually, I think we'll hit 11. With buy now, pay later payments jumping 78% from last year. That means people going into more debt to buy certain things. Probably not necessarily the greatest statistic. National Retail Federation projects total post-Thanksgiving spending, shopping, online, in-store, up 6 to 8% from last year, a decline when factoring in inflation. Some people question because, well, the stores, they weren't as crowded and as crazy as they normally are. In fact, I did a little shopping unintended on Friday, but I just happened to be with a friend who popped into a store, and I said, I've never been here before, and grabbed some stuff, and I noticed it wasn't as bad. It was kind of nice, but a lot of the deals online this year. Massive protests erupting all across the globe. Some now in China, due to the new zero COVID lockdown policy. Well, they've had these for years now, but the latest is a tragedy. An apartment fire that killed, I don't know exactly. It was 10 people, I think. Well, it's the most widespread opposition to the Communist Party reign in decades. Some calling for President Xi to resign. It's big news. And we're going to break some of this down and what it means. Protests all over, in fact, in Brazil, over the results of an election there. A communist about to be installed. The people say, wait a minute, we didn't vote for this. Questioning things like voting machines. 2.2 million people in Houston receiving a notice to boil their water last night due to loss of pressure at a purification plant. Water for drinking, cooking, washing hands and faces, brushing teeth, all of that needs to be boiled for at least 2 minutes, they say. The latest and the greatest on all of these stories and more, the ones that particularly you're not hearing anywhere else. We get to them all coming up in just moments. Just want to say thank you for being here with us today. Man, oh man. What a wonderful weekend. Hope you had a chance. Filled in for Glenn Beck on the National Program Friday. That's always an honor and a pleasure. If you missed that, the podcast is up at glennbeck.com. I've also put that on my page, justinbarclay.com. But some of the stories that over the weekend you may have missed, just because of the general festivities and whatnot. I think it's good to unplug for a little bit. Tend to unplug a little bit, get a little R&R. You may have missed some of these. The big story, like I said, I it's hard to watch some of this stuff. But this video that's out of China, and I don't think we've seen a lot of this. If you've been watching mainstream, I don't watch a lot of that anyway, but we haven't seen a lot of this reported. This fire, they say the rumors were, they had people locked down in their homes, zero COVID policies in China, and the people have had enough there. But some of the things about welding people into their homes, sealing the doors. Two people dead there. This is what caused the protest take place in China, but more of it, I think, had to do. Yes, this is something that likely caused the anger. This tragedy of the Chinese people. They've had enough. They've had years of it. They're going back in to full-fledged lockdowns again. And it's 2022. And by the way, the zero COVID policies, even the experts will tell you, even the so-called experts will admit to this, they actually could have caused harm, may cause harm to some of these Chinese who have not yet been exposed. They don't have the antibodies that you and I do. Some of you have had 2 or 3 times or whatever you want to call it. Whatever it is, who knows? The flu. So I remember they tried to tell Trump that was racist for some. The Chinese now even saying, no, it started here in Wuhan. It ends in Wuhan in their protests. In fact, here are people walking peacefully on streets chanting, we don't want COVID virus test. We want freedom. Crowds gathering since around 8 p.m., continuing until about 2 p.m. their local time. By the way, this is what they want. This is what they want. This is what they want to see over Klaus Schwab and the rest of the World Economic Forum. This is what they want with the Great Reset. This is what they want us to be locked down at any point in time. And of course, they want people to be easily controlled. But China now responding. This is kind of brave. This is courageous. That many people. You got to imagine. You see, they think China is the model for what the rest of the world should look like. That's why we see what's happening here in America. They want the ESG scores. That's the Chinese social credit score. They want all of these things put in place so that you're easier to control. Well, these people, you're talking about billion people. They say, no, we're done. We're not playing the game anymore. And I don't know how this ends. I don't know where it goes. But if you think about it, this is the very truth of all of this. The things that we witness on a daily. There are more people, more of us than there are of them. Let me just put it that way, right? And the Chinese experiencing an uprising right now. Pray for them as they certainly need it. People in Beijing marching on Third Ring Row is the next video I have here. Holding out empty white papers that symbolize their protest against censorship in China. You thought it was bad here. Oh, you can't say anything there because they'll ding your social credit score. You can't get on a plane, a train. You can't go through certain places. You can't buy certain things in China if you don't toe the Communist Party line. The white paper protests. Very encouraging to see what's happening there. And then, of course, I don't know if you've been catching what's happening over in Brazil, but they are protesting what they believe were shenanigans in their election. And you're talking about massive numbers of people at these protests. I couldn't believe how many people I saw in this video lined up. Now the military involved in some ways. And I'll try and break this down a little later on the after show. But what had happened there is they held an election. The communist won. Should have never even been on the ballot. This guy was a criminal. How did he get on the ballot? Well, their corrupt Supreme Court allowed him on the ballot. Now, all this is starting to sound familiar, doesn't it? It's very interesting. And then some claim through voting machine issues and other problems, he was elected. But look at the crowds in the street. Do you believe that man was the winner with this many people? I mean, you can't see there are people for miles in this video footage I'm showing folks in both ways on the behind the scenes live stream, which you can see Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Getter, YouTube, all of those places. Never saw this happen in the U.S. with an election. But the people in Brazil soundly saying, we don't want the commies, we don't want the socialists. And by the way, that's what just happened in China as well. It's not all just about COVID. Oh, there's a lot more to this whole plan, the whole thing. Of course, Xi just got reelected as a communist leader there again. The train is a rolling, folks. We are loading things up. By the way, speaking of crazies and those tyrants, Fauci, he's basically done now, was out over the weekend, and the guy just can't let it go. Making the rounds again. One more time on the Sunday shows. Oh, I'm sure he'll be back in a regular clip at some point. You know, this guy's going to be making the circuit, etc. But you can't believe, or maybe you will, what he had to say this weekend. Oh, he blames Trump for it all. He wants you to continue to test. Oh, yes, get the jab. And Fauci even weighs in on China. We talk about it all coming up in just moments. It's West Michigan Live. Welcome back, folks.
Tackling the hot button issues with style. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Garage door letting you.
Okay, folks, appreciate you being here. Oh, man, what a morning. Lots to cover. Make sure you click share. This is lots of things that people will not have seen. Randy is late yet again or early for tomorrow. You're going to get your clock right, man. You have missed so much already, Randy. I don't know how to bring you up to speed, man. We had to get that alarm set for you. He's early for tomorrow. Lots to talk about here, folks. I want to give you a quick plug if I can. Today is Cyber Monday, and yes, Cyber Monday, big sales. I suck these out for people email and text lists. If you're hanging out with us online, you chances are you will have seen these early. 30% off everything site wide. It's the Black Friday Cyber Monday. We're wrapping these up. These sales are coming to an end. I don't know how long this one is going to go. Maybe today and tomorrow. I don't know. But if you want something, you better get in there and get it now. 30% off with coupon code there on the site. Use the coupon code. We brought back the Let's Go Brandon Ugly Christmas sweater, the favorite conspiracy theory. Any new conspiracy theories, all of mine have come true. That shirt is up there. The new tinfoil hat beanies that folks love. The beanies are these things are really, they're picking up steam. The book and more, all the new stuff. And I got a new tee as well. We'll talk about that coming up here in just moments. JustinBarkley.com/store. Hang on.
Justin now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio and 106.9 FM.
Fauci back at it again over the weekend on the weekend shows with the Faucian bargain. Hey, just do what I say. Everything will get better. Sure would be ashamed if something happened here, with your immune system. I hate to see that happen. Oh, my. That happened over the weekend, plus some other big news. Biden giving Chevron the go-ahead to pump more oil. They're getting rid of some of the restrictions that they had. By the way, in Venezuela. This is in Venezuela. So, no, you can't pump here in America. We got to close up our shops here in America. You can't pump. We don't need that American oil. No, we're going to go to a communist dictator in Venezuela to get our oil. Yeah, I mean, it's just some of this stuff. You go, these people, I mean, it's either complete incompetence on levels like we've never seen before, or it's done on purpose. Well, get your tinfoil hat out on that one. Speaking of which, this was all conspiracy theory. It looks like some of it now is becoming confirmed. Elon Musk to release all internal documents on censorship of Hunter Biden. We'll talk more about that on a Tech Tuesday. But yes, they were doing it, and how they were doing it on Twitter. No secret now. Musk's going to reveal it all. They say over the weekend they were asked whether or not this guy, whether Apple might ban Twitter from the App Store. Google might ban Twitter from the App Store. What do you do? What do you do? He says, I'll just make my own phone. Well, he was essentially asked, will you make your own phone? And he said, yes. And it's no surprise. This has been in the works. He's been working on something like this for a while now. But if they ban Twitter on the App Store, look at that. It would give him an opportunity to launch his own. Now I don't know, a lot of different thoughts, schools of thought on Elon, but as of right now, seems to be that some of the things he's working on, some of the things he's doing, certainly seem to be a little, I think good moves. They're positive moves in the right direction anyway. One not so positive move, at least for Alyssa Milano this weekend, happened on Twitter. She tweeted, it's funny to watch these folks melting down. Some folks on the left just cannot believe that Elon Musk has taken over Twitter, and they cannot believe that that after all is said and done with, free speech is back. You're allowed to say things that you never were allowed to say before. In fact, it went sideways for Alyssa Milano because all these people, by the way, they all have Teslas. They all have and drive Teslas. And so they helped him. If you think about it, what really makes them even more upset is they helped him buy Twitter. They actually they sort of paid for it. Alyssa Milano acknowledging that fact and decided over the weekend, I'm giving my Tesla back. I'm turning it back in. She said, I gave back my Tesla. I don't know what that means. She had a lease on it and gave it back. I turned it in. I don't know exactly what that means. Sold it. I don't know. She got rid of her Tesla. Then she goes on this because, obviously because Elon Musk is so bad. White supremacy. Yeah, the South African white supremacist. So bad. He is, he's allowing free speech on Twitter, and we just can't have that. She goes on to say she bought the VW instead, an electric VW Volkswagen. I love it. She said, I'm not sure how advertisers can buy space on Twitter. Publicly traded companies' products being pushed in alignment with hate and white supremacy doesn't seem to be a winning business model. It didn't take long, folks. It did not take long for her to be reminded that Volkswagen, literally founded by the Nazis and Hitler. Somebody ought to check on Alyssa Milano today. Somebody ought to see if she's doing okay. Alyssa, you all right this morning? You literally cannot make this stuff up. Folks, let me tell you about Mentality, one of our latest sponsors to join the fight. In the fight for men, men, we need you. Despite what they tell you, the mainstream media, etc., we need you now more than ever. We need you to be the best husband you can be. We need you to be the best father you can be and show up in your calling, whatever it is, on a daily basis. The man you were created and designed to be. And you just can't do that if you're feeling low energy, motivation. Maybe you're tired all the time, got anxiety and depression, or that weight gain, muscle loss. It could be because of low testosterone. Now, look, this isn't always your fault. There are a lot of things that go into this. Could be diet, could be environment, things around you, or it could actually be age, which is contributing to this. But the only way you'll know is if you get tested, and the folks at Mentality can help. There are local healthcare facilities specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. You go get tested. They've got FDA-approved testosterone treatments, custom certified for every single individual. Board-certified physicians who work with most insurance. Check them out today. Mentality. Go to lowtusa.com. That's low, the letter T, USA.com. Go to lowtusa.com and take your life back today. All righty, folks. I saw Randy said he was late because he was spending money on my website. Well, then that means you're excused, Randy. And I appreciate that, my friend. JustinBarclay.com/store. Somebody asked me again about the zip-up hoodies. I'm working on this, folks. There's a problem with the design. I don't want to sell you something that doesn't work right. And the problem is when we put the designs up for the zip-up hoodies, let's say, let me show you, like the words that would go across the I Need New Conspiracy. You'd have like a zipper right through the middle. And I can't figure out how to get this. And because, listen, I'm not a t-shirt. I don't make t-shirts for a living. I make this so that you have something to wear so we can, fight the fight, give people something to talk about. That's why I do this stuff. So I can't figure that out. I will work on it and see if there is a way, like a workaround, but give me a little time. And by the way, I have more stuff coming this month. There's all kinds of new things in here. This is the newest, the Make It a Great Day shirt. Every day after the show, I say, make it a great. You can get your Make It a Great Day shirt, spread a little cheer. And again, it'll, today will be the best day to grab it because you can get 30% off. 30% off. I know, Sherry. I will get it done. Trust me. Even if I have to make a different design, something different on the zip-ups, I will do something different. But we have the Great Day, Make It a Great Day shirts. What else do we have? We have new gear. We have new stainless steel tumbler. We got the new hats. The tinfoil hat beanie. I like this one. Somebody got this one yesterday. Really, really excited about the camo ball cap, the camo tinfoil hat ball cap. We got all kinds of different colors. If you want red, if you want black, if you want gray, if you want white, if you want camo, all those different colors. Ladies, we've got shirts for you too. All these new, because this has been a complaint. We need new colors and we need new designs that actually fit for women. So this is what we got, ladies. It took me a minute to realize that men and women are actually different. But it's true. So we've got different colors. The I Need New Conspiracy Theories All of Mine to Come True shirt with the V-neck in different colors. There's black, there's gray, there's blue. I think there's another color here, that's a little lighter. So you've got all these different colors, and then a vest, a women's vest, with the Justin logo on it. So it's just all kinds of stuff there. Plus my book. Grab it while you can. 30% off. All right, that's enough about me. I'm tired of talking about me in the store. I just wanted to make sure. Randy says you've got 2 kids. That's true. I do. So lots of diapers to buy, and I should know the difference. Yeah. All right, let's see here. Let me say good morning to Tyler, Laura, Mercury, Judy. Good morning to you, Jacqueline, Matt. I hope you're feeling better. He said good morning, survived COVID. Are you back to work today, bro? Good to see you, Charlene, Tim, and a few others. I'm going to check in on Rumble for the Rumblers. Rumble. Lots of folks watching on Rumble. I think a lot of people like this Rumble. Nearly 400 people over on Rumble this morning. Appreciate you being here with us, Nancy and Blue Angel. 1769 Gary, Charmaine, Tom Always Learning. I appreciate you always, my friend, and the prayers. Brumbies fan. Tinfoil hat sounds like a great purchase today, she said. Oh, that's awesome. Hope you enjoy it. Those are always fun, too, because you get to have the conversations with people that you never thought you might be able to really get into. Some of these, what does that mean? What are you talking about? Tinfoil hat. What does that mean? Yeah, always fun. Overall getter, Josh, Mr. Deplorable, R. Reagan, Flatlander, Awesome Grandma. Good to see y'all as well this morning. Appreciate you being here with us. Okay, let me check in on the talkback feature here. Boom. 8. Okay. All right, back on the air here in just a second, folks. Stand by.
You'll sleep better. Enjoy the holidays. Take some of the stress off the table. Let's make 2023 the best year for you and your family. Keep your money safe. Call Jacob's Financial. Hi, it's Glenn Beck, and I invite you to join me along with Stu this morning at 10:06 for the very latest on the news, what's happening, commentary, and making sense of the world. It's aptly named the Glenn Beck Program. Coming up on Good Radio.
It is officially now Christmas season. You're free to put the tree up. We've done ours. We haven't decorated yet. You got 2 kids, and as young as they are, you're just like, you're lucky you have time to take a shower. And yes, I did this morning. But yeah, it's we got a lot going on around our house. So we're kind of slowly but surely bringing the Christmas decorations up. I don't know when your cutoff is, or when some people get into this Christmas right after Halloween. They get just the day after they're plugged in or they're ready to go. And I look, especially these days, I get it. You want a little more, something to kind of pick you up. You want a little more uplifting, kind of, a little more light and joy. Am I right? So we got the tree up. We don't have ornaments on it yet. The lights are on it, but the lights come on it. So we got one of the fake, but it looks really good. We've got some stockings hung by the chimney with care. Nothing yet that a 2-year-old can pull down. No, we're trying to watch that. I heard Schmitty talking earlier this morning about the ornaments on the. See, we don't have ornaments on the tree yet, and when we do, the breakable stuff will be a little higher. That's probably the plan thus far. So we're switching over everything as we speak, but it feels good you got to do that, especially. I woke up hearing this morning. Rejoice. In fact, that song, Rejoice. Rejoice in the Lord always and again. I say rejoice. You know that song? I just kept hearing that again, over and over and over again in my head this morning. And I thought to myself, we get so caught up in the circumstances and the world. We look at all the bad things that are happening. There's never a dull moment. I got a stack of stories, not all of them bad, but I got a stack of stories sitting right here. Tammy trying to get me all scared about this rail strike, she says, coming. I understand the circumstance, but at the end of the day, folks, there is only one place where my hope, my joy, my peace comes from. And I think that's probably why I kept hearing that this morning. Rejoice in the Lord always. Now, do you mind? I'm not trying to, it's not like I planned on having a little church up in here today, but I just kept hearing it. So I wanted to share with you. And again, what I hear there is rejoice in the Lord always. That doesn't mean, hey, only when your candidate wins. Only when you win certain elections. Only when the economy's good, rejoice. Only when you got money in your pocket. Only when the sun is shining. Only when the weather's great. Now, rejoice in the Lord always. Always. Praise him through the valleys, through the storms, and in the sunshine, and on mountaintops. Always. A good reminder that God is still on the throne, no matter what we see. And folks, I don't know. I'm also looking at stories today that I'm finding some hope in. People in Brazil and Beijing, the freedom is on the march. I don't know what happens and what comes of these protests, but people are marching. They are chanting, all the power comes from the people in Brazil. In Brazil. Now, we just got done celebrating Thanksgiving. You and I know, because we pay attention to this sort of thing, and we haven't been completely indoctrinated and all of this wiped out of our brains just yet. We haven't been brainwashed. But we know the only reason this country is here is because it's people, the ones who founded it, the ones who came over. They made a compact, a covenant with God. They gave thanks that first Thanksgiving. Politicians, we're told constantly, you got to separate church and state. Well, George Washington had a hard time doing that, didn't he? We're told now you got to keep your faith private. Abraham Lincoln had a hard time doing that, didn't he? Have you ever read any of these Thanksgiving proclamations? You're told you got to hide your faith. Hide it under a bushel. Oh, no. I'm going to let it shine. We got our daughter dedicated at church this weekend. She's about to be a month. It's almost a month old here in a couple of days. We got her dedicated at church. It's not a lot of pomp and circumstance. We don't go to a church that's, super ornate or, full of these, stuffy, any sort of stuff. And I'm not knocking any of that either. I'm just saying that we go to a very simple, just faith-filled church with some great people that feels like home. One of the things that I noted when we got her dedicated, just like we got Ada Grace dedicated last year. By the way, Lizzie says, we're not coming back with a third one next year. We've done both of those kids 2 years in a row. She said that we're going to take a break next year. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Bible says be fruitful and multiply. So but we may take a little bit of a break. But you get your kid dedicated, and what our church does is not only do you say as a parent, I commit to raising my child in these ways. Lord, I know this is a gift. This is a beautiful gift for you, from you. All good things come, but we're going to give this gift right back to you. we pledge to raise this child, teach her, him about you. And those things are so important. But the other thing that I found very important is that at our church, our pastor makes a great point to say, we as a church, we commit to come around your child and we commit to raise your child together. In other words, be a great example. We commit to be there for your kids. We commit to be a great example for them in that process so that they're not hearing one thing and then seeing us do or say another in the hallways. It's very special. One of the things I was reminded in the service yesterday is that we face so many issues on a daily basis when we're looking at the world. And I know that's kind of my job. That's what I do. That's what you like to do. And I do believe we ought to stay in touch. In fact, in my book, Good News, Hope and Encouragement for Trying Times, I wrote about this. I don't ever think you ought to stick your head in the sand like an ostrich. But to know the news, the truth, right, as you're searching for it, you got to know the full story. You got to have all the context, and the truth is often hidden when it comes to reports on television, radio, newspapers, etc. The truth is often hidden, and it's simply hidden by agendas, political agendas, or certain things said in a certain way, and even worse, certain pieces and facts left out of the stories. You don't get the full context. You don't get to hear the same scenario. You don't get to hear everything that shows you really what happened. And they've gotten to be very slick, very skilled at what they do. They really have. It's masterful. It's high level. But what I will tell you is this. If you know it's there, like you and I do, if you're grounded in the truth, you can spot it every time. And yes, there is small t truth, and then there is big T, the truth. And when you have that rock as your foundation, that is worth rejoicing over. That is something that, folks, I tell you, it can't shake you no matter what happens. Again, there's people on Twitter having meltdowns the day after the election, thinking that I was going to be so upset and crying on their ass. I said, you have no idea where my joy, my hope, my faith, it comes from no man. Be of good cheer. There's a lot to celebrate. A lot of stories in the news. There are things to celebrate. Yeah, there are many things also that we ought to be concerned about. And I'll continue to tell those too as well, because I think you need the good, the bad, and the ugly so that you can make the best decisions about what you and your family are going to do on a daily basis, how to keep them safe, and, of course, how to responsibly care for them. But I think you need it all, like I said, so you can have that information. I never want to talk to you out of a spirit of fear. I never want to push anything on you to, make you feel a certain way. That's what we see enough of with CNN, the Communist News Network, MSDNC, and the rest of them. Even the alphabets all over local television and newspaper constantly pushing fear. You know, there's more in the fear factor when it comes to COVID again. I've got to run a report. We'll get to some of this coming up in a little bit. Then the headline, I think, was right off the drudge. The next COVID strain may be more dangerous, lab study shows. Oh, give me a break. More from Fauci. A Rona report you won't want to miss. The stories you won't hear anywhere else. But in the meantime, rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice. Back after this. God bless. Okay. Okay. Somebody asked about the dedication of baptism. We don't baptize at our church children. If there's anything wrong with that, we do is a little different. Baptism, and dedication are different. There's no water, no water involved. There's some prayer. But there's no baptism. The baptism with kids at our church, or doesn't take place with kids. It usually comes when you're a little older and you understand what's going on. The baptism is just a signification of the, like, externally of what's happening on the inside of you. But there are different places, different churches that do it differently. A lot of, like in the Catholic faith, they will baptize the babies. Little water on the forehead kind of thing. So that's I guess that would be the difference. This is just more of us as a church coming together. Hang on, folks. Back on the air here in just a moment. Welcome back in. It's News Radio 1300 and 1069 FM. Appreciate you, and thank you so much for being here with us today. Yes, we have lots to cover, and, we only have an hour to do it every day, but that's okay. It's the fastest hour in radio, and it is flying by. Don't forget the after show coming up today. You can stream it. If you've never done this before and you think, I'm not really sure how to do that, because I meet several people or hear from people in emails that say, I can't get the after show. I've never done it. You don't have to have a social media app or something fancy. You can simply just go to my website, justinbarclay.com, Justin Barclay, BARCLAY.com, and then click on the after show. And you can get exactly what you're looking for, justinbarclay.com, and listen in. You'll just click on that little, there's a little Spreaker down there. You just click on that, and it'll show it like floating red. There's also a video there, so you can watch that as well if you like. Otherwise, we're Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Getter, YouTube, all the usual places. So lots of good places to do that. We've got a Rona report. I promised, because I don't know if I get to all of it, but I promised updates. We have them. Fauci's at us again. Yeah, here we go. The high priest of health himself, St. Anthony of Wuhan, Mr. Booster, Tony Fauci. So he was out over the weekend on the weekend shows, hyping it up. I told you this was the story. I think it was MSN has it. I think it's on top of the Drudge Report. There's a headline there. Next COVID-19 strain may be more dangerous, lab study shows. Okay, and it may be less dangerous. It may just be like the common cold. I don't know. We have a buddy here, somebody in the chat who had it this weekend, got over it. Unfortunately, he didn't go to, Thanksgiving, and he wasn't able to work a couple of days, but he's back at it. And Matt said he never lost his taste, his smell, or anything like that. But he said he did feel like it was tough to breathe at times. And he said he kind of like he felt like he had the flu. Praying for him. Glad he's back. I think he might be even back to work today. The latest from Fauci. Now, by the way, says that yes, COVID-19. He admits it. COVID-19 was politicized, but he says it not in the way you think. See, it was the Republicans. It was the Republicans. It was all their fault, and you won't be surprised. I'll put it this way. You won't be surprised when you learn who he blamed. Anti-Fauci. Is that Antifa, anti-Fauci? Fauci. Ugh. It's not me. It's the Republicans. It's their fault. They're the ones who did all this. They politicized it all. I did nothing. I'm innocent. Innocent, I tell you. Nothing. I couldn't do anything if I wanted to. I am the science. You criticize me, you're criticizing the science. This guy. Matter of fact, you know what he said? He said it's all Trump's fault. Asked about some of what happened, the anti-China approach, Trump's fault, is part of the reason why China won't share information with us to this day, he says. And he blames Trump.
What happens is that if you look at the anti-China approach that clearly the Trump administration had right from the very beginning, and the accusatory nature, the Chinese are going to flinch back and say, no, I'm sorry, we're not going to talk to you about it, which is not correct.
But they're not talking to the Biden administration about it either.
Exactly. I think that horse is out of the barn, and they're very suspicious of anybody trying to accuse them.
Oh, that horse is out of the barn. See, it's the United States. It's their fault. And of course, he blames Trump.
We need to have an open dialogue with their scientists and our scientists. Keep the politics out of it and let the scientists, because these are scientists that we've known for decades, and we've collaborated with them.
Yeah, in fact, they made this. They made this in their lab over there. We collaborate. Oh, tell me more about your collaboration, Fauci. Tell me more about it. This is the guy that, and thankfully, this is he's done. He's on his way. This is like his farewell tour, right? But this is the guy who refuses to let it go, still tells you to go out, get tested, get boosted, all of that stuff. And they asked a simple question. Do you think that schools are going to have to close again? Now, folks, it's 2022. We know what this does. We know what it doesn't. We know how to get around it. We know how to treat it. We know who's really at risk. Are schools going to have to close? Listen to his answer.
So coming out of the holidays, should parents expect schools to shut down?
I don't know, Margaret. I'm not sure. When you talk about shutting down schools, there's always the collateral
That's also
effects.
Radioactive.
It is, exactly. There's always the collateral issue. So you have to balance, and you do it in real time, depending upon the viral load of disease in your region. Whether
he doesn't know. He doesn't know, he said. I don't know if the school's got to close or not over here. I mean, who knows? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen when they close? We might have to close some more schools. That's Fauci. There's more of him. And of course, we'd like to see a lot less of him. And in fact, we will. But there may, in fact, be another day coming where we will hear and see even more from the mad scientist as he's testifying in front of Congress. Oh, my tinfoil hat on there for you. In fact, it may happen sooner than later. We'll keep an eye on that. He did have to give a deposition last week that we may see or hear more of. A lot of blame game in that. We talked about it Friday on the Glenn Beck program. I'll get more into that in the after show and more from the Rona Report as well. Hang on, folks. Lots to cover yet on the show after the show, kicking off in just moments. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Getter, YouTube. Look for me everywhere at Mr. Justin Barclay, and yes, even at justinbarclay.com. Make it a great day. God bless, folks. Okay. What do you see? Fauci's replacement. Well, they've all jumped they've jumped the shark. Speaking of no trust, he's talking about China and no trust. The American people don't trust any of these people anymore. Unfortunately, that is a side effect from all of this. That is a side effect from it all. All right, let me kick this show off. I got a few buttons. We'll be live on our after show. Did Fauci appoint his replacement? Interesting question. I don't know. I'm sure he had a hand. I'm sure he had a hand in it. Okay, hang on. There we go. Welcome to the after show. It is the show after the show. That's why we call it the after show. See what he did there? No. A little bit of a Rona report. Fauci and the big show. I'll run through some more of that again. What he had to say over the weekend. There are protests in Brazil and China. China, because of the COVID lockdowns, or zero COVID they want down there. Of course, they welding people in their apartments, and they had a big apartment fire over the weekend, killing 10. People have had enough. And it's not just COVID. It's freedom in general. And it's on the march throughout the globe. Talk about some of that coming up in the after show in just moments. Appreciate you being here with us. Of course, anything else you want to cover, I'll watch in the chat. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Getter, YouTube, all the usual suspects. Today, we thank our sponsors. My store. Everything is 30% off for Cyber Monday at justinbarclay.com/stores. All store. Singular. justinbarclay.com. All the stuff, including the Let's Go Brandon Ugly Christmas sweater, the conspiracy tee. That was the original. I need new conspiracy theories. All of mine have come true. The tinfoil hat beanies, those are new. The other tinfoil hats, the original tinfoil hats, lots of different selection there. Mean Tweets, Cheap Gas 2024. My book, hoodies, and more, all of it available. JustinBarclay.com, and stuff for the ladies as well. 20% off. 30% off. But this deal doesn't last. I don't know if it's just today or if we'll do some tomorrow too. Today is Cyber Monday. That's why we continue. I told you last week, Black Friday week. Lots of deals on all kinds of good stuff. I don't know. Did you get anything good for Black Friday? I got some things, but they were like essentials. Wasn't any luxury or anything crazy that I splurged for. And there were things that I needed. And since I got a discount on, I went and had picked up. It's kind of how it went. So just know this. When you buy anything from our store, or you go to justinbarkley.com and the sponsors page, and you support any one of our sponsors, anybody that you hear me talk about on this program, you're helping make this program possible. You help share these stories, the stories that may not hear anywhere else. You help share the stories that you feel ought to get out into the world. You help get them out. You help give us a place where we can do this. We can come together. We can have these conversations. Talk about what matters most. So thank you to you. My gratitude. It's important. It's important that I share that with you. All right. So how about some Black Friday sales numbers? $9.12 billion. They say up 6 to 8% from last year. They think it'll be $11 billion after it's all said and done with. Now, here's the interesting piece of this, at least that I found. Late, buy now, pay later. Buy now, pay later payments up 78% from last year. Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. People don't have as much money. Now, last year, we were getting pumped all this money from the government. They were direct depositing money into people's accounts. Do you remember that? Yeah. Direct deposit for having the child tax, all these different credits. And then, of course, you get your student loans. You don't have to pay those. So a lot of people have more money. The other reason they had more money is because things didn't cost as much as they do today. The Biden inflation was, it had started to creep, but it wasn't quite where it is today. I would warn you, buy now, pay later. Be careful with some of that. That would be, I guess it's probably credit cards. That's probably different apps. They do have different apps where you can buy things on monthly payments, etc. There are sometimes that stuff can make sense, but be careful. I will tell you one place where I do think it makes sense. Some people might disagree with me on this, but there is one place in particular where I think it really makes sense. This is not a commercial, although this is, I will share with you, what they're doing, but preparewithjustin.com. The folks at My Patriots Supply, and yes, it's Cyber Monday there, save up to 67%, lots of big deals, but they have a buy now, pay later option. Now, if you end up using this, make sure you tell them to give me credit, because again, they're one of our sponsors and we get credit for anything you buy through them. It helps support the show. But they have it. Let me see if I can find it. Pay over time, no fees. This is what it says on the website. They have an option here. When you click this, pay in monthly installments. No application, no check. We make it simple. So they charge you based upon whatever you want to split it up, sample plan. They say split for over 4 months. They say $1,000 purchase. You could split $250 each month. Well, think about it this way. You got $100. You spend $25 each month. Whatever you decide to use, but make sure if you do talk to them on the phone or you whatnot, that you try to make sure that they give us credit for this. But that's where I would do it. Why? Because, well, think about this, folks. You've got something that's it's survival food. It's shelf-stable for 25 years. In fact, when I did some stocking up about a year or so back, I did the same thing. I wanted a big kit worth of food, and I thought this would be good to have. We need to have this. And I'm seeing, supply chain issues at the time. I'm seeing, who knows? I've got a little baby. And I'm thinking, I just want to make sure that I can feed this child. I can probably go for a while myself. I know somebody, I was Al earlier said that I need to go on a diet. Al, I am carrying around caloric energy. I am energy independent right now, at least for a few months. I just need good, safe, clean drinking water. Yeah, so I'm carrying around a little extra energy, but no, I would need this for my family. So I got it. I did the it's kind of like layaway, Sean. Yeah, good point. Stores used to have layaway option. Now that option's been taken. But with layaway, you had to make your payments before you could take your product. With this, you can get your product home and make those payments over time. So that's there. Now they used to go through another company to do this. Looks like they've cut out the middleman. So that's something that I would look at. But this is a stat that people ought to pay attention to, is that buy now, pay later payments have jumped 78% from last year. The National Retail Federation projects total post-Thanksgiving shopping online and in store up 6 to 8%. I got lots of reports about stores still being stocked full of stuff. Stores being stocked full of stuff. In other words, the big massive crowds that they may have expected just didn't show up. I got a couple of thoughts on that. It could be a couple of different reasons. And Steve shared some good videos about this the other day. I'm not willing to say, hey, everything's collapsing. This is the proof. I think it's a sign or a signal. You take that with a grain of salt like you do anything else. It's data, but it's anecdotal. I did notice big line around noon when I was at a store. And then, like I said, I don't do lines. I don't really like to do stores, period. I don't like to go anywhere for anything. I really don't. I get stuff delivered to the house, and I like to pick stuff up. So, but I did notice, around noon, a pretty big line, but they had a lot of people there to make it go quickly. And by the time I had picked out what I wanted and was ready to check out, I was able to just walk right up to the cash register. So take with that what you will. People just don't want to go out in public anymore. There was a lady robbed around the corner from us at a store. Around the corner, just robbed. I think it was broad daylight. Then they went down the street to another store and robbed another group of folks. April says, I believe all the overstock in stores is what was sitting at the backed up ports last year. Probably. I don't like malls. I don't do malls. I'm not really. I just don't like to go in person. I just think a lot of people have, they've changed their habits over the last couple of years. Now, is that because you don't want to be slowed down by those that would recognize you? No, Ladina, I do. I like meeting people. Nobody recognizes me. I mean, very rarely, here and there. And people are more polite than anything else. They don't want to bother you or bug you or whatnot, so they don't want to talk to you. But some people will come up and say hi. Some people say very nice things, and I love that. So I love meeting people. Period. Especially if we talk, and I would know your name, especially if you're on here. So yeah, I never. That's never a problem for me. Let me just put it that way. It's never an issue for me. But no, it's just more of like when I go, I'm a hunter. This is a guy-girl thing. Men, let me ask you, and let me just get your opinion on this to see if we're let's see if I'm on about this. If I'm corrected my assumption. Men don't like to shop. I'm over kind of generalizing here, but men don't like to shop. We like to know what we want, and we want to go right there, get it, drag it out of the woods, and bring it back home, so to speak. Do you know what I'm talking about? Women, on the other hand, you want to go look at things, try out a bunch of stuff. You want to see what's out there. It's just different personalities. Shelly says, nope, it's not that doesn't work for us at our house. I hate shopping. Steve loves it. Well, I can see that. I can see Steve liking to shop. It seems like he might be the more gregarious kind of, yeah. Tammy says, if anywhere is a no gun zone, I'm not going. Isn't that something? Yeah, I mean, we're sitting ducks in a lot of those places. I only go to mall and stores that have outside entrances, Ruth says. They actually turned an old mall here inside out where we are. It used to be you had to go in through that entrance and then you go on the inside the stores inside. But now it's like a shopping center and they flipped it inside out. And so all the entrances are on the outside. And that thing got revitalized because of that. So, Ruth, you're not alone. I think there's a lot of people that do the same thing. I'm very similar. I want to go, if I'm going to go inside, I want to go right to the door, right in. Grum says, nope, hubby shops like a woman. Rochelle says, I don't like to shop, but I have to do it as a necessity. I used to work retail. I hate shopping, Ruth says. Dick says, I'm not a shopper, I'm a buyer. Get in, get out. That is the best way to explain it, Dick. I am a buyer. I'm not a shopper. If I'm there at the store, I already know what I want. Chances are, for the most part. There are some times, like a hardware store, things might be a little different. I'm really kind of looking, I'm looking for something, or I want to look at things or ask some questions about things. But, man, anything else, I'm in and I'm out. And if I can pick it up, like, you can order online now and get stuff. You can get it picked up. So that's how I will do it. That's how I will roll if I can do it. But anyway, we're starting to see economic numbers on some of this Black Friday stuff. We'll keep our eye on it. I think for the most part, they're going to try and push that this was a big win for the holiday season, et cetera. You got all your earnings reports and things like that. Eventually, they'll have to flesh some of that out. Top of Drudge this morning, though. Let's see. Let me still up there. Yeah. Top of Drudge. It's over on the left. The China stuff is obviously top headline, but it's over here. Economy biggest bubble in world history? ? Collapse in home prices coming, experts say. Job market riddle at heart of the recession. So they're talking about some of these things this morning. The economy biggest bubble in world history is Rich Dad Poor Dad Kiyosaki talking about this. I like some of the stuff that he talks about, but we have to remember guys like him are selling something. They're always selling something. I'm not saying don't listen to him, but it's just like anybody else. Even Dave Ramsey, for the love of Pete, and these guys would probably be a little different in their philosophy. They're selling something. They're selling an idea, or they're selling a book, or they're selling. I mean, we all are. We're all selling something. I mean, even what I say, take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody. So, is this bubble story real or not? I mean, you got to give it some thought. Look through it. He says, please do not listen to what I'm going to say next. I would get out of paper assets. The world economy is not a market. I believe the economy is the biggest bubble. This economy is the biggest bubble in the world history. God have mercy on us all. Many of you know I do not invest in equities, bonds, ETs, or MFs. Please do not listen to what I'm going to say next. And Economy dying, Fed incompetent, next bailout, trillions in pensions, hope fading, bought more gold, silver, Bitcoin. So, but the other thing is he's always been a real estate guy. So it seems logical that he would want to have something. This the see it coming thing, Steve, and the only thing I'll say about this is that we've seen this coming for years now. They have been propping this thing up for years. So I can't tell you what's going to happen, but I will tell you, just be ready. You do some preparation. We've been talking, none of this stuff is new. God's still on the throne. We know that. Keep it, keep all of that stuff in mind. It's just the latest. Biden's struggling now, but he's scrambling to track billions sent to Ukraine. This is Republicans. Now, you mean they don't know where this stuff went? Oh, come on, give me a break. They know where every penny is. This idea that he's just incompetent, that he's just a buffoon. We don't know where the money went. Scrambling now to track $20 billion in Ukraine aid as House Republicans warn of audits. 10% for the big guy. He knows where that went. Biden administration scrambling to track the nearly $20 billion in military aid it is sent to the Ukraine. Oh. Now all of a sudden it's important to know. Republicans warn of impending audits when they take control of the House in January. Likely future House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has said his party will not be giving Ukraine a, quote, blank check to fend off Russia's invasion. Now all of a sudden, and it's not connected at all. It's not connected at all. So please I don't know why you would even think that. Please don't draw that conclusion. But FTX, the failed cryptocurrency deal, funded a $27 million PAC led by Democrat campaign consultant in Arizona who supported Katie Hobbs. Did they fund and support Katie Hobbs? FTX? Speaking of Arizona, we talked on Friday on Glenn Beck program about what's happening there. We talked about some of the lawsuits that are underway, some of the issues with the election, and of course how folks are fighting back. More details on the Kerry Lake lawsuit being filed, and of course some of the other things that are coming out of Arizona. We'll keep an eye on this. I will get into this, I think, in the next day or so. Speaking of crazy economy stories, how about this one? A furniture company has laid off 2,700 workers. That's not the story, though. The story is how they did it. While they were sleeping. Via phone and text messages. A big furniture company this week fired all of its 2,700 employees while they were sleeping, telling them in text and emails not to come to work the next day. Mass firing on Tuesday by United Furniture Industries, which makes budget-friendly sofas and recliners for Simmons Upholstery, left thousands of employees, including truck drivers and factory workers in North Carolina, Mississippi, and California, unemployed just days before Thanksgiving. At the instruction of Board of Directors, we regret to inform you that due to unforeseen business circumstances, the company has been forced to make difficult decisions. There it is. There's the text message. How about waking up to that one? Yeah, that's not good. By the way, this is we I don't think we've begun the layoffs yet. I mean, you've seen a few here and there, particularly in tech, because they know what's coming. They're going to see that first. But some of the other big ones, I don't think we've even begun to see yet. Not clear why the 2-decade-old company dissolved its operations so suddenly, but over the summer had fired its chief executive, chief financial officer, and executive vice president of sales, according to Furniture Today. Several weeks later, some 500 employees lost their jobs at multiple facilities in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and Verona, Mississippi, Victorville, California. On Tuesday, workers were later told they could come to their work spaces to, quote, gather their belongings. A laid-off worker told the publication, it's not fair to laborers who seriously work so hard to be blindsided like this. While I have sympathy for these people, I certainly do, but this is always possible in every job, no matter what. And we're probably going to see more of it. If you don't have a way of making a little extra money or being independent in some way or being insulated, a parallel economy, whatever you want to call it, but insulated from some of this stuff, folks, it's going to get really hard. It's going to get really hard if things do crumble. Like folks are kind of saying. Like we're headed into. All right. Anything else that I've got to get to today? FTX on steroids. Is Tether the Biden world's crypto BCCI? Save a little. Okay, just days ago, Bloomberg estimated 30-year-old Sam Bankman-Fried's personal wealth at an astonishing $16 billion. Now the disgraced FTX founder is essentially bankrupt. Yada, yada, yada. The collapse of FTX. This is from Revolver. It talks a little bit about FTX, but they're saying that there's this other thing that we ought to know about called Tether. The story that Revolver is about to tell you is even bigger and more spectacular than all the other fascinating storylines listed above. In fact, dear reader, FTX may not even be the biggest scam in crypto. Another even more spectacular scam may still be live, ready to collapse at any moment if anyone decides to take a real look at it. The story you're about to hear concerns the third largest cryptocurrency on the planet, which you've probably never heard of. It's a story how a former Disney child actor, a Jeffrey Epstein associate, who was embroiled in an underage sex scandal, bizarrely emerged as one of the world's strangest cryptocurrency moguls. It is a story that raises serious questions as to whether an entire cryptocurrency is a scam, effectively a private money printer. And to top it all off, there is no reason to believe that if this cryptocurrency is the scam that it appears to be, it will nonetheless be allowed to continue because of this particular cryptocurrency's usefulness to the intelligence agencies throughout the world in funneling money to foreign rebel groups and jihadis with plausible deniability. USDT, or Tether, they say, is what's known as a stablecoin. A stablecoin is a cryptocurrency that instead of fluctuating in value is intended to hold to a consistent price. Tether is a USD stablecoin. Each tether is supposed to be equal in value to $1, while most cryptocurrencies are wildly speculative and backed by essentially nothing. Each tether is supposed to be backed directly by a US dollar or an extremely liquid, reliable investment like a US Treasury bond. These USD stablecoins are used on cryptocurrencies exchanges to conduct on the blockchain trades in lieu of using actual US dollars. Without stablecoins like Tether, the current crypto ecosystem simply would not exist. There are multiple USD stablecoins, but Tether is by far the most popular. Okay. If cryptocurrency was an engine, Tether is one of its pistons. A year ago, crypto news site Protos summarized Tether this way. Over the past 7 years, the Maverick stablecoin has evolved into a primary crutch for the ecosystem. It's a tool for onboarding new money, managing and growing liquidity, pricing digital assets, and generally oiling crypto markets to keep them smooth. Tether boosted a $1 billion market capitalization when Bitcoin hit $20,000 at the end of 2017. This year, it's a $70 billion plus powerhouse. Practically every crypto exchange supports Tether. The makeup of Tether reserves and its inner workings are yet to be disclosed in clear detail. Still, the question of who exactly buys Tether directly from its parent company, Bitfinex, has remained unanswered since its inception way back in 2014. Earlier this year, Protos shed light on that mystery by reporting that just two companies, Alameda Research and Cumberland Global, were responsible for seeping roughly 2/3 of all Tether into the crypto ecosystem. Alameda Research is the company that was owned by Sam Bankman-Fried, the investment company that worked alongside FTX. He says, does the last sentence set off any alarm bells? It should have. Alameda Research is the quantitative trading firm founded by Sam Bankman-Fried. Bankman-Fried and his partner in crime, Alameda CEO Caroline Ellison, allegedly propped up their trading firm by plundering FTX customers' accounts. The inner workings of Tether remain remarkably opaque. New Tethers are supposedly to only be minted and added to the crypto ecosystem when somebody gives Tether limited dollars to create them. And if that's how it all worked, Tether would be fine. But there is no evidence Tether actually works this way. He says, we repeat, there is no proof that Tether stablecoins are backed by the store of tangible assets that is supposed to justify their value. Despite first being released 8 years ago, Tether has never been audited in any way. It first promised an audit in 2017 to, happen eventually. How's that coming along? Reported by the Wall Street Journal, Tether says audit is still months away as crypto market falters. Tether is decided to grease the rails of the roughly $1 trillion cryptocurrency market by promising each token can be redeemed for $1. Things are going slower than we would like, they say. Instead of full audit, Tether, like other leading stablecoins, publishes an attestation showing a snapshot of its reserves. So we don't know what's in there. We don't know what it looks like, what is really happening, but we do know, they say, at least partially in this story, and it's 31 pages, that this stuff is being used, again, kind of like FTX. This might be the next one on the block. This one is being used to fund things that maybe shouldn't be funded. And then again, the question about FTX are they also using this to launder? And how active are they in politics? All of these crypto things seem to be scams in some ways. I'll post a link to that Revolver story, by the way, if you want to read the whole thing up on the stack. It's really interesting. You want some good news today? Newly elected conservative school board fired superintendent, banned critical race theory. In one meeting, Deion Jackson went from South Carolina Berkeley's county school superintendent to unemployed. His firing came at the hand of a newly elected school board, which appears to have declared a judgment day for woke practices in its district. In its first meeting after the November 8th election, the board fired Superintendent Jackson and school counsel Tiffany Richardson. Then it hired Anthony Dixon as superintendent and retained Brandon Gaskins as counsel. Before the day was over, the board banned teaching critical race theory and created a board to review library books for pornographic content. Moms for Liberty, an activist group that supports parental rights and education, endorsed 6 of the board's 9 members. Many Moms for Liberty candidates won school board elections this November. As reported previously, the group's leaders say more aggressive school management decisions may soon be in order. In Berkeley, the candidates' aggressive approach was a response to student discipline policies and slow learning post-COVID-19, said Christy Dixon, the Moms for Liberty chapter chair of Berkeley. Parents were seeing that their children weren't achieving the levels that they had been previously. There were a lot of changes, she said. When Jackson left the school board meeting at which he was fired, it appeared that not everyone supported the board decision. Some parents watching there walked out. Others cheered. Former school board chair David Barrow called the firings a travesty and a political witch hunt. Well, how about a reckoning? How about a reckoning? How about accountability? So far, the board has yet to explain its rationale for firing Jackson and Richardson. Board members Yvonne Bradley and Crystal Wigfall walked out of the room in protest after Jackson departed. I'm sure that helped. Moms for Liberty co-founder Tiffany Justice said the board might be newly elected, but that it knows exactly what it's doing. We're seeing this in Ottawa County. Ottawa Impact and what you might see as they start to take the reins in the Ottawa County Commission meetings soon. Oh, boy. Those are going to get heated as well. These are people that have watched the former board. They've interacted and watched the former superintendent. They have watched and interacted with the staff attorney, she said. The newly elected school board members have been keeping a list and checking it twice. According to Dixon, Jackson changed school discipline policies in ways that cause problems and usurped parental authority. Schools under his authority told parents that school staff should be able to discipline students for behavior outside the school, she said. The example that they gave was that if a child and another student in their neighborhood got into some type of disagreement, it was going to spill over into school, the school environment, then they should be able to insert themselves in that situation. Jackson also supported retroactive practices, she said. According to the University of Florida, a restorative school justice system places suspensions and detentions with restorative meeting circles where offenders and victims practice restitution planning. All of this stuff is absurd. Meaning, if somebody commits a crime or something against you, you have to come together with them to talk about what their punishment might be. If you're forced to sit with them, that's how it works in a criminal justice system. They're doing this in schools. The previous school board wanted to spend $1 million to hire 5 district-level administrators. We'd have teachers' aides. We don't have teachers' aides. Could that money not be better served to get down into the schools and not and into the classroom levels to help the teacher than to hire more top-heavy district-level administrators, she asked. Finally, the school district's library included the book Looking for Alaska, which is sexually graphic language, Dixon said. Dixon added that she didn't know exactly why the board moved so fast to fire Jackson and Richard, but she trusted they had good reason. Oh, some of those, elections have consequences. Some of those school board meetings and some of those races, man, oh man, they're just going to continue to heat up. Some of those school board races, they are going to be profound, I think. The type of things that we see coming out of there. And the good news that you ought to know about, the good news that you ought to hear, because it does matter, folks. This type of stuff is important. Parents taking back control, taking charge, fighting back one step at a time, and we start locally. They took control. These rabid, radical, crazy, wacko leftists that want to push communism or anything else on your kids, they took control over decades, slowly, quietly, behind the scenes. This stuff isn't going to happen overnight, but in one school district, apparently, it has begun. All right, folks, that is going to do it for today. An after show in the books. Another one. Make sure you click share no matter where you're watching. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Getter, YouTube, all the usual suspects. Appreciate your help there. JustinBarclay.com. Check a look at the stack. Find out what you missed at JustinBarclay.com. Stories, videos, links to them all online in the stack later on this afternoon. We're looking forward to seeing you again back here today, 9:06 Eastern tomorrow morning. Wishing you the best. And yes, 30% off. 30% off everything in the store. You can grab it now at justinbarclay.com, our Cyber Monday sale. But it's not going to last, so you see something there you want, you better go grab it. 30% off at justinbarclay.com. All right, that's it. Make it a great day, folks. God bless. Men, you got it tough enough sometimes. You're always under attack. And yes, we know your job is hard. You are tasked with being the best father, the best husband, of course, the best man you can, showing up at your job, your calling, no matter where it is, what it is that you're doing. You in the fight, and we need you there. We also need you at your best. That's why Mentality is helping men all over get back to where they were just a few short years ago. Maybe you've noticed some low energy motivation, feeling low, anxiety and depression, weight gain, muscle loss, those types of things could be your testosterone levels. And it may not even be your fault. Age plays a big role in a lot of this. Decreased mental acuity, attention span, stress can cause focus issues on even the most simplest tasks. And think about when you're trying to show up, be the best father, husband, in your job, your calling, no matter where it is, you need to be at your very best. Mentality wants to help you get back there. A local healthcare facility specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. That's Mentality. They've got FDA-approved testosterone treatments, board-certified physicians who work with most insurance. But you need to find out more. Just give them a call and find out how they can help you. Check out Mentality today at lowtusa.com. Go to lowthusa.com. That's lowtusa.com today and take your life back.